Excel Chapter 5, pages 278 through 281. Actually, we're just going to start at the bottom, just a little bit on 277. So read that couple of just brief paragraphs about rearranging a pivot table. To move the condition field, in the layout section, right here, of the pivot table field list, locate the condition field button in the row labels group. Here's your row labels group, and there's the condition field button. Flip to page 278. Drag the condition field button from the row labels box to the column labels box. Okay, here's your column labels box right here. We're going to come down here to the row labels box. We're going to grab condition, and we're going to pull it up here and let go. And did you see what happened? So I'm going to hit undo. Take a look at this. And I'm going to hit redo. Very cool. The pivot table is rearranged so that the condition field is a column label instead of a row label. Each time you make a change in the pivot table field list, the pivot table layout is rearranged. Changing the pivot table report layout options. To display the pivot table in outline and tabular layouts, step number 1. Click the Pivot Table Tools Design tab on the ribbon. In the Layout group, click the Report Layout button, and then click Show an Outline Form. The pivot table layout changes to the Outline Report layout. Take a look at Figure 5-38 at the top of page 279. Step number 3. In the Layout group, click the Report Layout button and then click Show in Tabular Form. The pivot table layout changes to the tabular report layout. See Figure 5-39. Step number 4. In the Layout group, click the Report Layout button and then click Show in Compact Form. The pivot table returns to the original layout, the compact form. Read Adding a Report Filter to a Pivot Table, and then turn to page 280. To add a report filter for the location field. Step number 1. In the Pivot Table field list, drag the Location button from the Row Labels box to the Report Filter box. Right there. Okay, from the Row Labels to the Report Filter. The Report Filter field item shows all to indicate the pivot table report displays all of the summarized data associated with the location field. See Figure 5-40. Next, you'll change the summarized report to show only art objects in the East Pavilion. Step 2. Click the Report Filter arrow in cell B1. B1, Report Filter arrow, which is currently on all. The Auto Filter menu opens, showing the field items displayed. Click East Pavilion. And then click OK. The pivot table displays the total appraised value of art objects located only in the East Pavilion. The Report Filter arrow changes to an icon to indicate the pivot table is currently filtered. Do you see it right there? Top of page 281. Step number 4. In the Pivot Table field list, drag the Location button from the Report Filter box to the top of the Row Labels box. The Location field is positioned above the Category field, and the pivot table returns to its previous layout. Filtering pivot table fields. To filter the condition field items from the pivot table. Step number 1. In the pivot table, click the column labels filter arrow. The auto filter menu displays the list of items in the condition field. Click the Pour checkbox to remove the check mark. Click OK. The Pour column is removed from the pivot table. The pivot table includes only art objects in excellent, good, and fair condition. Take a look at figure 5-42 and compare it to your own. You can show the hidden objects by clicking the column labels arrow and checking the Pour checkbox again to turn it back on. Alright, go ahead and reach up and hit save and move on to the next video.